everyone, how are you? Hope you're doing really well. Today I'm super excited because finally I'm able to share with you the update for the Pandos eyeshadows. I have said this a million times, but this is my favorite project here on YouTube, so I'm super excited to be able to share you another update. And let me tell you that today we're having two pans, so two rollouts, and I'm super happy about that. I have mentioned that I decluttered my Panda palette, and in that palette I had 50% of my pans, so I really need some new pans to get my pan percentage back up. And I'm super excited that we got two new pans in a month. It was hard, especially with one, it was really hard, but we have new pans. But first, if you're new here, hi, welcome. You can call me Shannon, and in this video we like to talk about project pans, me trying a no buy, some hauls. So if you're interested in that kind of video, please consider subscribing. But let's start with today's video. So first, let's start with some info about this project. This project was created by Alexi. I'll leave her channel down in the description box. And this is a huge project, and everyone does this project a little bit different. I have a different set of rules. I'm trying to pan 5 eyeshadows at a time. I can roll those eyeshadows if, of course, I hit pan on them, or if I use them 25 times. And I'm always trying to work in my older eyeshadows palette, so I have a spreadsheet with all of my shades in my collection and another spreadsheet where I have my 10 older palettes and singles. So yeah, at all times I want to be working in the older and singles. And today we're going to be rolling out a shade from the whole collection and a shade from the older. So we're going to get to that at the end of this video, but let's start with the shades that I've been working on. You will be seeing right now the color story that I had for this month, and I was super happy to get this color story because I was having a pretty neutral color story before that, but finally we have some more spring colors like pink, oranges, and that kind of stuff, so I was excited. As I said, as always, we're going to start with the shade that I have used the least up to the shades that I have used the most. In the later month, I haven't been wearing that much makeup. An example of that is that usually I wear makeup 5 days out of a week, and in the last week I only use makeup 3 days in the whole week. So yeah, I'm using way less makeup because lately I have a different mindset where I only want to wear makeup if I'm going to film or if I go or if I need to go out. So yeah, I don't know how is that going to affect my pan progress. But yeah, I don't want to make this introduction any longer, so let's start with the shade that I have used the least. The shade that I have used the least come from my Alicia palette from Beauty Creations. This is a palette that I got at the beginning of 2020, and it was my first colorful eyeshadow palette. And when I just got this palette, I really got into pink looks, and I made a lot of pink looks. So the shade that I roll in, I already have a good tip on it. I don't know how many times I used that shade before, I have no idea. But as you can see in the close-up, there was a dip, and I only needed to use it 3 times to get a little tiny bit of pan. It's not a huge pan, but I was happy to get it that fast because I don't know if it's because this shade, this palette, it's getting a little bit older, but the shade was super powdery and kind of patchy, so I really need to like build up the color to get like a nice color on my eyes, and for that reason I feel like I use a little bit too much product. But I always try not to waste any product and get with the brush the kickback that you get when you're like using the brush and that kind of stuff. So I feel like I didn't waste any product, but yeah, the pan came really quickly. I only needed to use this palette 3 times, as I said, for a total of 3 times because it was her first month in this project. So yeah, we're going to be rolling out this shade, and this palette came from my older palette, so again we're going to be rolling in a shade from my older eyeshadow palette spreadsheet. But let's move on to the next eyeshadow palette, and the one that I lied, there is another eyeshadow that I use least than this one. So let's talk about the eyeshadow that I only used twice. And that came from my The Rude Awakening palette from Brut Cosmetics. And I'm working in this shade over here. This is the second month that this palette has been in, or this shade, because before I was working in this shade over here. And I only used this eyeshadow twice for a total of 5 uses. So I don't know why I'm not feeling inspired using this color. It has been in this project for 2 months, as I said, and 5 uses we don't even have a dip. I don't know, it's funny because I rolled out this shade last update, but I said that I wanted to try to hit pan on it, and this shade, even not being in the project, I used 6 times. So I don't know what is my issue with this shade over here. Of course, we don't have any dips. I don't know if this is an eyeshadow that we could eventually hit pan on, because it doesn't have a lot of uses, so I guess we'll see. But the other shade, even if it's not in the project, I'm going to update you in this shade. I have used it 31 or 32 times, and there's a huge dip. I feel like we're really close to a pan, but we're not there yet. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to hit pan on this eyeshadow in 25 uses, and it's going to take me the whole year to get to the 25 uses at this rate. So yeah, this is the second eyeshadow that we've been working on. And then we're going to move on to the next shade that is from my Making Mobs palette in the shade Marky. So we have this shade over here. This one is Marky. It's a really dark mauve color, but it's not too pigmented. The thing is that I have used this shade 4 times in the last month for a total of 18 uses. And we're not going to hit pan on this shade like ever. It will take me like 50 uses to be able to hit pan on, so we're going to be rolling out this shade next update probably. I don't know why I felt like I used this eyeshadow way more times than 4 uses, but no, it's only 4 uses, and I think I have pictures for the 4 looks that I made with this palette. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to roll out this palette next update, because this palette has been in this project since the introduction, so I'm getting a little bit tired of this color. And now let's move on to the Zodiac palette, and we got the shade Virgo, the shimmer one, and we have used that shade 7 times. Yeah, 7 times. I'm using it today in my inner corners, and that is the way that I have used it the most, like an inner corner highlighter or something like that. And we got the shade Virgo. This is a baked eyeshadow, so it has kind of a dome, so this is another shade that I'm completely sure that we won't be able to hit pan on 25 uses, but you will be able to see it on the close-ups that we have progress. Like the dome is more flat where I'm using the eyeshadow, like placing the brush, so maybe we won't have a pan, but this shade at least will look more loved than it was at the beginning. I was worried that even with 25 uses it was going to look like nothing, but I feel like we're going to have a good dip after 25 uses. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to the 25 uses, and now I'm thinking that maybe if we have a good dip after the 25 uses, we might keep this eyeshadow in this project to see if we're going to be able to hit pan on it. But to be honest, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to be able to hit pan on this eyeshadow, not in 25 uses, not in 30, not in 40. So we'll see, but I feel like 7 uses in the first update, it's pretty good for this shade. Someone, I cannot remember her name right now, suggested that I should use like the pinker shades of this palette with the orange to make a cocktail look, I think you call it. And I did that. I'll leave the picture. It was a look that I really enjoyed, and I wouldn't thought of it if you haven't given me this. I cannot speak right now, but thank you so much for that suggestion. It was a beautiful look, and I got a lot of compliments with that look, so thank you very much. And let's move on to the last shade. And yeah, I said that we're going to have 2 rollouts, so The other rollout come from my Jackie Aina palette. This is another palette that has been in this project since the introduction, and I'm happy to report that we have a pan. Yay! You can see it clearly. I hit this pan today. Last update I was at 18 uses, so I only needed 7 more uses to reach the 25 uses goal, but I felt like I had to be close to the pan, and I thought that maybe with 10 extra uses as I was going to be able to hit pan on it, and it only took me 9 more uses, so my calculations were pretty good. But we have a pan in this palette. This is one of my newer palettes on my collection. Well, not the newer, but I got this palette this year, and it, it already has a pan, so I'm super excited about that. I'm super happy to see a pan in this new palette. This is my first Anastasia palette, and it's one of my favorite palettes in my collection. But I've been using this palette from different purposes and different projects since May, June. So I'm so ready to move on. Since we're going to be rolling out this palette, that means that we're going to be rolling in another shade. And I'm super excited about that. So let's move on to that part of the video that, at least for me, it's my favorite part of every video. So first we're going to be rolling a number for my whole collection to be replacing this eyeshadow palette, and then we're going to be randomizing a number from my older eyeshadow palettes to be replacing this one over here. So I have already updated my spreadsheet, and we have a total of 647 eligible eyeshadows. I think since the last time that I saw you, I added 2 eyeshadow palettes, the Mercury Retrograde, the original one, and the Naughty palette from Huda Beauty. Let's roll our first number, and we have 138. Okay, that is a pretty old eyeshadow palette. I'm happy. I think it might be no, I don't think it's a ColourPop eyeshadow palette, but I wouldn't mind to get a ColourPop eyeshadow. Ooh, that it's from a neon palette. So that's going to be interesting. It comes from my City of Neon Light, and it's a shade Little Miss Starshine. I think that's a yellow, and that will be good because we could use it with this orange over here. So that is our first shade. And that palette, the City of Neon Light, it's also in my spreadsheet from the older palette, so we might get 2 shades from the same palette, but we'll see. In the spreadsheet with my singles and older palettes, we have 169 eligible eyeshadows, so let's randomize a number. So we'll see 101. I have no idea what is that. It might be a ColourPop shade, I think. Yeah, it's a ColourPop shade. It's an orange because it comes from my Orange You Glad palette, and it's the shade Creamsicle. No idea what shade is that, so I'm going to look for those eyeshadow palettes so we can react to the new shades together. I'll be right back. So I'm back, and I'm not too happy about the fact that we're replacing one big palette with another big palette. At least this one is a little bit smaller, but as I said, we got the shade from this palette called Little Miss Starshine. This is the palette, so let's look together. It's an orange. It's a matte orange. Is this orange? A matte yellow. Is this one over here? It has a little bit of a dip. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to leave the close-ups over here, but this is the color. Yeah, it's a pretty pigmented yellow. Usually yellows are hard to manufacture, so okay. Yeah, at least I'm happy that we're going to be able to work with this yellow and the orange from the Zodiac palette. But we got another orange, and we got the shade Creamsicle from the Orange You Glad. So let's look together. What shade is that? I'm pretty sure it's the lighter shade. No, it's not. is this shade over here. Okay, at least it's kind of cohesive now, but the bad news is that we still don't have anything to go with this shade over here. I haven't used this palette in so long, so I'm kind of excited about using it again. So let me swatch all of the colors so we can see the new color story together. So here we have our new color story. I'm pretty happy because out of this one, this is a pretty cohesive color story. And now that I'm looking at these two shades together, I'm thinking that I might try to get a look with those two. But yeah, this looks way more summery and springy than the color story before. We have some oranges, some yellow, so I'll be able to get some pretty colorful and bright colors in the next month. I'm thinking that next update we're going to be able to roll out the shade Marquee, but I don't think we're going to be able to roll out anything else. I have worked before in a shade in the City of Neon Lights palette, and I barely got a tip, and I was working on it for a while, so I don't think we're going to be able to hit pan on this shade even if we have a dip already. But who knows, maybe we're going to be able to roll this one out. Who knows? It's a possibility. So yeah, this is my new color story. Please let me know if you have any ideas. Your ideas from last update helped me a lot. So let me know if you have any suggestions. And that's everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you're doing this project, how are you doing? If you like this video, please consider subscribing. I feel like this video will be a little bit long, and editing this video takes a lot of work, so it's going to be a challenge. But that's everything for today. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye!